Messi Co, breaking Major League en la ciudad del sol. Here in Miami, we know who's el campeón. Leo my team, yeah, sweaters on the field, always wearing they team. Como usted ya es un win, the trio of everything, muchachos. La familia se escucha en los barrios. Esta camiseta pinky la llevan todos los guachos. Los rookies quedan sin comentarios. Messi ambetea, tiki-taki gol. El estadio Chase bañado en gloria y sudor. Aquí se ama y se respeta el balón. Florida es tu casa, acostúmbrate al calor. Estate listo pa' Messi Co. Estate listo pa' Messi Co.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live edition episode of Messi Co. I'm Ashley here with my incredible co-host Gian, and all I can say is playoffs, baby. Inter Miami have secured the third seed and are going to be playing Nashville in the first round of the MLS playoffs that takes place this Friday. So much to talk about. Before we get into any of it, and of course, Messi, how are you doing, Gian? How are we feeling?
I'm doing good. Good. Excited to talk Inter Miami. Everything's good here. Been enjoying the weekend. Finally Monday, the work day, the work week, and it's the week where the playoffs finally start. I feel like it's what we've all finally been waiting for. Like throughout the entire season, we know that the season is fun and all that, but this is where it really counts. So, but I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Excited to talk about Messi, man. That guy is
Ooh,
crazy, huh? Is he
he's
good
pretty
or not?
good, huh? He's pretty good. We should get him on our team. We should. You know what we should do? We should make sure Messi starts because he seems like he's pretty good at the sport.
Yeah, no, that he's having an incredible season, just like incredible. And we've talked about it in all of our episodes. Like it's just you think that he's good, and you know that he's good, and then he just shows like another level. And every season he becomes better. So it's I don't know. It's just like it just continues to surprise you. Like when does Father Time catch up with Messi? I don't know.
It's really crazy, and I mean, we already have a good amount of people watching, and we have people in the chat. What's up, Ash? NSA, how we doing? Daniel Barry, happy Monday. Yeah, everyone's excited. I mean, I think there is so many things to talk about with this Inter Miami team. But Ash, like always, like I said, a great name. People named Ash. It's a great name. Did Messi have the best individual MLS season ever? And I have an answer. I would say, just for context, you're probably comparing it to obviously Carlos Vela and maybe Zlatan in terms of maybe Beckham, but like probably just Carlos Vela in terms of like the best uh numbers and everything like that. So did he have the best individual MLS season ever? Yes, he did. He did. And we saw this because this was Messi who was able to play for the majority of the season. Obviously had a little bit of those injury issues early on, but has been so consistent. And I mean, 48 goal contributions in league play alone. 19 assists and 27 goals. I mean, or excuse me, 29 goals. 29 goals and 19 assists. Could have had his 30th goal, but instead gave it as an assist to Lasco Segovia, which obviously is just an encapsulation of who Lionel Messi is. But has, even though Inter Miami have, had some issues as it comes to those trophy games and things like that, Lionel Messi has been phenomenal. Every single match he's played, every minute he's played, just has been not only the best player in MLS, but honest to God, at 38 years old, he's really playing like a top 3 player in the world. I mean it. He would start for any team. He would literally start for any team right now in the world. And that is just so, yeah, is that the best MLS season? I'll say so because I think it's one of the best global seasons. So, yeah, my answer is yes.
Yeah, that's probably what he's referring to. Look, there are a lot of idiots online, I swear, dude. I was seeing people talk about Messi and comparing him to Carlos Vela and what Carlos Vela did in 2019 with his, I believe it was 49, was it right?
Mhm.
Yeah, 49 goal contributions. And talking about how Messi couldn't beat it having De Paul, Busi, Alba, Busquets on the team. And I was like, these people are idiotic. Like, what are they talking about? Do you not realize that Carlos Vela did that at 30 years of age. He had 49 goal contributions at 30 years of age. And you have Messi with 48 at 38 years old. Come on. You're talking about a guy that's
Playing
8
at the
years
highest
older
level also for the last
versus
21
a
seasons.
guy
Yeah.
that's in his prime, like at 30 years old. And you're not talking about any LA team. Like, okay, you're talking about Busquets and Jordi Alba, but you're not talking about any team. That team had like 70 something points as well. They had broken the goal record for MLS at that moment in time. They had broken a lot of records, and they were an incredible team. So it's not. I mean, I don't get those comparisons at all, and I think that Messi at this ripe age of 38, being able to come one goal assist short of Carlos's record of 49 is just incredible. And then you take into consideration the fact that Messi gave away, like, if it wasn't for the fact that Messi also, has allows other players to score, like you mentioned it there, he gives penalties away. He gave a penalty away even though it wasn't scored on,
Mhm.
or the passes that he makes. Like, I think that he had the ability to score even more. But at the end of the day, Messi to me had the best individual season ever. He did it in less games
You're
than
right. 28 games out of, I think, what was it, 36 or 37 potentially, maybe something like that, close to
No,
that.
excuse me, Carlos Vela did it in 31 games. And when
Right.
you Messi did that in 28 games. So not only
Yeah.
was he 8 years older, but he played three less games and he was one goal contribution short at the end of the day. So to me, I think it's one of the best, if not the best, MLS individual season ever because of not only that, but the impact that he's had, not just the numbers. I think without Messi, this team is what, maybe a seventh, eighth seed team in MLS. Maybe, I think sixth. I think Messi, just the impact that he's had as an individual player, along with the numbers, it's the best season you've ever seen by anybody in MLS history, and it may be like that for a very long time.
100%. I mean, a great point. Like, let's think about it. So he had 19 assists, right? In the regular season. Now, if I were to say that um Tadeo Allende and Luis Suarez scored only 30% more of the chances they had. So I'm not saying 90 or 100, 30% more of the what we would consider high chance probability goals that they ended up missing this season, especially Tadeo Allende. Um, how many assists do you think Messi probably could have had if we had even a 30% higher rate of conversion? I'd say 40. I'd say 40 at least. That's how
Yeah,
good he's what like, that's really what it is. Because I mean, you're really looking at someone who could have right now in league play over 60 goal contributions, almost 70 actually, really, if you consider the fact that he had 29 goals, 19 assists, like I said. If if only let's move that to 10 assists. I mean, you're looking at 68 to 72 goal contributions. That's like and they weren't like hard goals that these people missed. We're talking about like the tap-ins and the sitters that were missed this season. Um, that's just it puts it into perspective of how crazy it is.
yeah. I think overall, it's hard to kind of gauge that number of how many would have converted. But one thing that you did mention, one name you did mention is Tadeo Allende. I don't know so much about Suarez, but Tadeo Allende obviously did have a few there that he did miss that were pretty point blank and easy ones. So yeah, that probably would have changed the numbers. At the end of the day, Tadeo Allende ended up being the second leading goal scorer for Inter Miami with 11
Which is
goals.
crazy.
And that was, I mean, it's the sheer number of chances that he got is
Yeah.
why he got himself in the right positions, he made the right runs, and Messi fed him. And if he would have, to your point, have scored maybe just 10-15% over what he did and didn't miss some of these easier ones, yeah, I think the numbers would have definitely changed. And but nonetheless, I mean, you talk about not just numbers but the actual impact. There's a difference between seeing things as like on paper and
Yeah.
stats and all that, but the eye test I think tells a lot as well. And you can see that this team, I mean, the impact that Messi has had, the runs that these people make, the way they pass and everything, it's all elevated by Messi. So when you put all these things together, it really is the best season we've ever seen by any player.
100%. And we're getting some good comments. I mean, so we're getting, he wouldn't start for every game, every team in the world. Okay, maybe take out PSG, Liverpool, like Bayern Munich. Okay, I can name maybe 3, but of the top 10 teams in the world, he'd start for at least 6 of them, which is really like the point again of the perspective of just saying like the level he's playing at right now in MLS at what is, look to be the twilight of his career. It's just absolutely amazing. And the way he's scoring too, this is a great comment by Carl, who says it's amazing how Messi scores goals despite being surrounded by 3 to 4 defenders. That's another point. Not only is it the amount, right? We're talking about like the actual contributions he's done in goals, 29 goals, only 1 penalty of the 29, and I would say 20 of the 29 were like either outside of the box or him going through defenders and like making a great shot. Like they weren't just again, not not to repeat, but they weren't sitters. Like the goals Messi has scored this season have been outstanding. And again, it just shows his level of play is still just out of this world.
Yeah, you talk about whether he'd start on different teams across the pond in Europe, and you talk about Italy, teams in Spain and
I
England.
want him to start for my team in Europe, which is
Yeah,
one of the best teams in
Tottenham.
the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, one of the best, I say, but
They're like in fifth or sixth right now, aren't they?
maybe not one of the best. One of the biggest teams in England.
Yeah. But look, I think that yeah, there may be exceptions to that statement, but overall, I think he'd start probably for a majority of the teams that are competitive. Look at Modric, for example. Modric, I think, is 40 or 41 years old, and he's starting for AC Milan. And Messi is, I mean, obviously a much better player than Modric. So is he starting for an Inter, for an AC Milan? Is he starting for an Atletico Madrid? Is he starting for maybe not Liverpool, but is he starting for a Tottenham? He is. Is he starting maybe for Manchester United? 100%. There are definitely big time teams out there. Even at Barca, I don't know because
If it wasn't
obviously.
for Lamine Yamal, you'd say yes 100%, but because Lamine Yamal is amazing, you would say you don't
Yeah.
say it, right? Like
Or he start as the offensive midfielder, like instead of Pedri or not Pedri,
right.
but Olmo or Fermin, he'd
Olmo,
probably
right,
start
yeah.
for one of those two. So there are a lot of teams that are top tier teams fighting in UCL that would definitely, I think, have him
100%.
100%. So the fact that you have him here in MLS, and it's obvious, like the disparity between the skill level that Messi brings and the what would you say, like the skill level of MLS, I think, is apparent because somebody said it in the comments that sometimes he score. I think it was Carl said it, he scores despite being surrounded by 3 to 4 defenders. Like he sometimes is toying with some of these players. So you can still see that not only is he playing at a high level, but I mean, he's way above the level of MLS. So
And I'd also say though that is true with this too, that the quality of the league has improved a lot in the last 6 years, and it's still though he's still a galaxy away, but we are seeing a lot more competitive teams in the league, a lot of great players. I mean, Dennis Bouanga, like you're seeing. I mean, Heung-min Son, like I'm not gonna make this a Tottenham podcast. Maybe I'm just really excited because I'm going to a game next week. But you know, he is still one of I think he'd still be playing a lot of minutes for Tottenham if he was still there, and he's an amazing player. You're seeing these amazing players all through the league. Evander for Cincinnati. I mean, you can name a lot that are just really good players that you would say could make it in a lot of leagues, and the league is elevating itself. But even with the league elevating itself, Messi is still in
yeah,
a league of
it's
his own, which is
It's
American
competitive. I
wrestling.
mean, we aren't first place this season. We're
True, yeah,
third place in the East. It's a very competitive league
yeah,
in regards to the teams. Like you may have some of these obviously top tier players, and you have the best player in the world, which is I think why we were able to, despite being in the competitive East this season, being able to at least get to a place where we have home field advantage, and that's due to in big part to Messi and his ability to do what he does on the field.
100%, 100%. And I think this is a great point. Like, let's say even without pace, even though he does still sometimes outrun defenders, he can play another 2 to 3 seasons. We'd all like that. We'd all like that. We at least 2, and I mean, you're seeing him, like I said, at the best. So yeah, Lionel Messi. He's pretty good at the sport, and I hope we keep starting him because he deserves a chance. He's a good kid. Um, with that in mind,
He's a good
he's a good
kid.
kid. With that in
He's
mind, though,
the
let's
young people would call him Unk, I think nowadays.
yeah, he's on. With that in mind, what about the rest of the team? I posed this question on Twitter a little bit earlier, and we've gotten a good amount of votes on it. And my question was, based on recent performances and Messi's MVP form that he's in, can Inter Miami make a legitimate run to win the MLS Cup? Do you want me to tell you what the results are first, or do you want to answer first?
No, what are the results? What do they think?
Results 67% say yes, 32% say no, and that's with a little over 70 votes, which is a pretty good sample size in the last hour. Um, so, and I happen to agree with them. I've been saying this to you a lot on the side. I mean, this team has definitely been up and down, and we've seen some personnel issues, some coaching issues, some finishing issues, no doubt. But in the current form that this team is in, and with Mascherano making the changes of of putting in, Rios Novo in goal, which I think is a huge change. I think we will be seeing Ian Frey starting on Friday. We're seeing hopefully DePaul brings it to another gear, with those kinds of changes. Baltasar Rodriguez being a starter has been great. Him and Segovia being able to share the 90 minutes has been really useful, I think. With those in mind, plus Messi being just an absolute alien right now, I feel much better about this team's chances this year than I felt last year, where it felt like sometimes we were even though we won, I know we broke the record, the Supporter Shield, it still felt like there were moments where everything could just fall apart. I don't feel that way right now. Right now, with the way the team is playing and the personnel is playing, I feel like there's a lot of togetherness, and I'm seeing a much more complete team and a lot more control, let's just say. And although the first few minutes in the game against Nashville were like a little back and forth, Inter Miami got control of the game and they kept it. And we've seen it recently that when they get the control, they keep it. And so, yeah, I think they have every chance. They have every chance.
I'm just taking this one step at a time. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
know.
doing
We
because
know how I am.
after last season, I mean, you broke the record. You broke the record, and you looked like you were just gonna absolutely tear it up, and then you got ousted in the first round. So I'm just taking this one step at a time. What I will say is, as following this one step at a time, we're facing Nashville, and we just beat Nashville 5-2. So that made me feel a lot better, about at least about the first round. Also, the fact that we've beat them 5 games in a row, leading back to 2024. They're
Mhm.
still yet they're yet to beat us. So that with this 5-2 result makes me feel a lot better going into the first round. The second thing, Messi. Messi makes me feel a lot better going into the first round as well. The fact that Messi is playing at such a high level, the fact that he has been consistent. So not a game here, a game there. He's consistently been playing good. He's consistently been healthy. He's consistently put in all of the minutes that he has. We're seeing a different Messi than we had last season. Last season, we had a Messi that was missing a lot of games, injuries, chronic injuries. You weren't 100% sure what Messi you were going to get in the playoffs
Copa America, yeah.
and Copa America and all that stuff. This is a better version of him, a more consistent version. And I think if you have this Messi, you're going to get past this Nashville team. The one thing, if you're looking at it long term, I think the one tangible thing here is Mascherano and Mascherano's inexperience. And when you get into the playoffs, it's not just about the talent you have on the pitch. It's not about only about having the best player. You need a guy that has the experience in coaching in the big moments and having success in the big moments, knowing what lineups to put out there, knowing how to manage a game, knowing what to do when you're down 1-0, 2-0, knowing how to manage a game when you've got 20, 30 minutes left and you're up by a goal. So those are things that I've seen Mascherano not do well at in the preseason. I mean, during the season. And at the end of the
I
day,
agree.
the season is long, so you can make mistakes. And at the end of the day, you still make it to the playoffs. That's not the same here in the playoffs. in the playoffs, you have to be tactical. You have to make the right decisions. There's no room for errors. So I think that to me, that's the biggest intangible that we have going forward. Messi is the constant. Macherano is the we'll have to see what he does.
Mm.
And I think you're going to need the best of both to make it to the playoffs. I don't think Messi is enough. I think you need Messi plus good coaching, and then the rest will fall in line. I think everybody else around him has done well enough. If Macherano and Messi can both put their best performance forward, you obviously need more from a bit more from the defense. But other than that, I think right now I'm good for a first round, moving past the first round.
Well, again, that is more than last year, so you're right, we can start one at a time. NSA says, "But Ash, if Nashville scored those goals in the first half, it's different." Yeah, but you can say the same thing about Inter Miami in a lot of opportunities. They scored X, Y, and Z, it'd be a different story. So it coulda, shoulda, woulda, they didn't. We did. That's how sports work, and again, like I said, I take my chances with Messi. I think this is a really good point. Also, before I actually get to this, because I think that that'll be our kind of segue. Nick says, if you remember last year when Messi returned from injury, just like you were saying, um, it was hard to reincorporate him into the flow of the team because yeah, we had won the Supporters Shield, we had gone on that run, but it was Tata Martino having to do a lot of different things with different players. And Messi coming back from injury, it just the timing didn't seem to align. And that's why I said with this one, it feels like this team and like the game plan, the core of the team and the relationships of the team feel stronger, and like I said, getting hot at the right time, Messi playing insane. These are some other players who I think have made this is a good point. Messi, Segovia, Baltasar, Silvetti, who are about to get back after the U20 Argentina losing in the final, which obviously sad, but he was obviously amazing. Um, Alba technical ability. I think specifically, with Segovia and Silvetti, I don't know if they'll be, starting and being there in moment one on Friday, but Messi, Baltasar, and Alba are and will be. And I agree with this that you're seeing the technical ability and finesse of these players. You see it with Sergio Busquets. You see it even with Ian Frey. The technical ability has keeps this team in a good place and and creates the chances and creates the dominance of holding the ball, holding possession, creating their moments. And that in the playoffs is a huge part of it.
Yeah, were you saying that? Can we bring up those players again? Who did you think you said that was gonna start or not start?
I don't think Segovia and Silvetti are starting on Friday.
Segovia or Silvetti? Yeah, I think Baltas. I imagine you're saying that because you think Baltasar over Segovia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I think that those are very technical players, and I think Ash has a point there. Obviously Jordi Alba is basically another striker for us when he plays higher up and out wide. So and he's a guy that that can finish. They say this year is different. Yes, it's more based on Messi, but I feel what do you say?
Oh, sorry.
But I feel better than last year going into the playoffs.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you, that's
that's
why I
what you
feel
said,
too.
Ash.
Yeah, I really do. And again, I could be a prisoner of the moment. But I'm just saying, like, in these matches, it just doesn't feel as like I don't know if toxic is the word, but the identity of the team. Like last year felt like a lot of different stories, especially because of the Messi injury and different things. This year, it has been stories, but like the last 2 months have been very consistent. We know and there have been a few drops in performances, but we know what we've seen and what we expect in terms of the team, in terms of the structure, all of those things. Yeah, Mascherano sometimes messes with it. Sometimes players are in and out. But I think honestly going into Friday, he knows what his best 11 are to win. And that's all you can hope for in your team going into a playoff, right? Is that with the players that you have available, your coach and your team knows the best 11 to start. And if that's a great starting point to be at to go into an elimination tournament, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, look, he's had plenty of time to figure out this team. I think it's probably the healthiest it's been in a while, for the exception of Obando. I think everybody else
Yeah.
is pretty good. So I think that for him, he's got a lot of tools at his disposal, and right now is the time to put into practice what he's been able to do during the season. But there's a lot of different things I think in storylines going into this game and into this playoff series. Obviously, one is Nashville and their defending versus Inter Miami and their goal scoring. That's going to be interesting to see
Mhm.
how that upholds. You talk about also the pressure on the vets. You have now Jordi Alba and you have Busquets that are both retiring after this season. I think there's more pressure on them to now leave MLS with a championship. And I think
Mhm.
that that's also something that they want to prove. And I think it'll actually help us this season, where they're going to have added motivation. Not only are Jordi and Busquets going to have added motivation, but Messi and the rest of the team are going to have motivation to send these guys off in the correct fashion
Mhm.
with an extra piece of silverware that they can say they won the championship and that their season, that they didn't come into the MLS for 2.5 seasons or 3 seasons and not leave with any single thing. So I think that that plays. I don't know how you feel, but I think that motivation is going to play a lot into this series and into
Great
what the
point.
playoffs look like.
It's a really great point. I honestly didn't think about it like that, but you're 100% right. It's a great point. With with Busquets and Alba retiring, you are gonna get an extra gear, especially out of Messi and Suarez and even DePaul, we'll see about everyone else, but you'll definitely see Mascherano too, who was a colleague of theirs for a very long time, a teammate, made it through the highest of highs. Um, I think it's a really good point. My question for you is, if things don't go our way, and I don't even wanna put it in the atmosphere because I really do feel good about this team and I feel strongly, but if we see that the team falls short, whether it's in the 1st round or the 3rd round or whatever, and we don't see a final, because I think if you make it to the final and you show good playoffs, I think Mascherano gets another at least start to the season and chance to, get more developed players, have DePaul in his position, etcetera. But if you see an early exit, I think the question is he on the hot seat? If this he doesn't get a trophy, that's we talked in the beginning of the season for potential trophies, etcetera. Do we think that that will be something to think about? Or, and this is another point, if he's not fired, I think this is a good idea. Bring in an experienced person to be on the bench because he needs more experience around him. But for him specifically, what do you think? Do you think there's a yes and a no button depending on how the playoffs go?
I think that if and not to dwell too much on this because we don't want to be, uh, you know, kill the vibes here. We're talking about a really good chance at winning an MLS Cup with a Messi that is playing out of his mind. But let's just say worst comes to worst. If they fall short of an MLS Cup, I don't care if they make it to a final, you have to sack Macherano.
Mm,
This wasn't this wasn't a learning type of season. This
right.
isn't a season where where
True.
you gave the keys to Macherano and said, "Hey, figure out the team and we'll see what we do next season." Granted, they didn't know that both Alba and Busquets were going to retire during the same season. But at the end of the day, you have these guys that are from Barcelona that are world class players. I mean, you fell short in 2024, and I'm not talking about Macherano. I'm talking about as a team. You fell short in 2024. You bring in 2025. Supposedly, you feel like you're a better team. You bring in Macherano. This is a team you have to win trophies with, and you didn't win Leagues Cup. You didn't win Champions Cup. You didn't win Club World Cup. I know, again, the expectations weren't that high, but still, I count it as a trophy. You didn't get the Supporters Shield. Like, if you leave with nothing, nah, there's no way you should be back. I mean, the only thing that saves Macherano is if Messi for some reason owes him money or something, or owes him something, a favor, and he calls in a favor. Hey, I need you to keep him money. That's the only thing that saves him. But that would just be malpractice on the club. But let's hope it doesn't get to that. I
Mhm.
think that Macherano doesn't have. I mean, he doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect. If he can be satisfactory and above with this team, he has to win. He has to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, we're close. We've waited all season for this, for our chance at redemption and for the next story in the Inter Miami book with Messi. That hopefully isn't ending anytime soon. So So let's talk about predictions about this first round with Nashville. So obviously in the first half, you saw more dominance from Nashville and goal scoring opportunities, and then you saw in the second half, Inter Miami completely, quote unquote, turn it on and put on an absolute clinic, and it ends in a 5-2 win in a very hostile environment where you played you played difficult, you played into their hands in the first 30 minutes. Okay, so with that in mind, how do we see this series going? And you mentioned it that Inter Miami have bested Nashville, in the majority of their battles they've played so far. Both started in 2020. Um, it's interesting, right? And after what you would say was a pretty demoralizing loss for Nashville at home, decision day, had all the momentum in the world in the first half, and then you end up just getting obliterated by Messi and this Inter Miami team. How does it affect them? And then starting at Chase Stadium on Friday, how can Inter Miami, not fall into the trap of last season and guarantee themselves the win in the first round and with the first match?
Yeah, look, I think it's a heavy mountain for Nashville to climb. I think the psyche plays a lot into these types of games, and the fact that they haven't won in 5 games dating back to 2024. The fact that the last game they played in the season was against the team that they're going to face now for possibly a 3 game series, that they lost at home 5-2, despite having multiple chances to score and extend the lead in the first half. I think it's tough. It's a tough mountain to climb because you're not talking about them entering with a lineup that was maybe heavily rotated and they didn't have some of their best guys. Like, you're talking about a team that went out there with Mukhtar, with Sam Surridge, with Schaffelberg. Like, these are guys that have given us plenty of pain
Probably, yeah.
in the past and have scored really good goals on us. And the fact that they were at home and lose to us, and then they got to come back and play us possibly 3 more times, and we have home field advantage, I think it's going to be tough for them. I think they're going to have to do a lot of soul searching. I think that they're going to have to figure out how the heck they can finish their chances next time. But even if they finish their chances, they ended up allowing 5 goals. So at home. So that's a whole other mountain to climb as
Look at
well. So
that. Only
you've got two
12 all
different things to figure
season.
out. What 12 off season?
Nashville let in 12 goals all season at home, and then we put 5 in one match.
Exactly. So think about that. Like, they're thinking, okay, we go an entire season allowing just 12 goals. What the hell did we do wrong against Miami? Can Miami be stopped? And knowing that, I mean, not only do they have to figure out how to score the chances that they get, but they now have to learn how to defend us. I think I think it's going to be tough for them. And I think that when you look at Messi, because here's the thing. If you're Nashville and you're any other team in MLS, you can it's like you try to figure out your game plan. Are you surrounding Messi and trying to do your best to keep the ball out of Messi, but then you focus so much on Messi that you allow players like Suarez, who is lethal. You have Baltasar, who has been playing really well as well. You have Jordi Alba, that's basically another striker up top. If you have Ian Frey playing instead of Cello, you have Ian Frey that also plays very high up and is able to uh, head balls in on set pieces, that is able to, there's you have that option where you focus on Messi, but then you allow everybody else to basically run free, or you focus on everybody else and then you have Messi that can basically do everything on his own. I think it's a tough job for any coach and any team that's going to play against Messi. The one thing that you can count on, and this is unfortunate and I know it, but you can count that with Inter Miami, because of the fact that because of the fact that they play so many people high up, you have an ability to, you're going to have a lot of chances to score. You're gonna have, anytime that you have the ball and you
Or at
and
least
you take the
counter.
ball away from
At least
Messi, like, you have a counter. Yeah, like that's what I think, that it's going to be difficult for Inter Miami to figure out how the heck do we have a balance between scoring, but also be able to not let those counterattacks that kill us, you know, especially to a team like Nashville that is lethal up front. That, again, we say Mukhtar, Surge, and Schaffelberg. We saw that our defenders have a tough time holding on, like playing against those guys. So it's going to be a very tactical game, I feel like. But look, Ash, we said it. Messi on this team playing at this level, you have home field advantage. If Nashville wins at home or vice versa here, we're coming back to define the game here at home. Like, I'm taking this team like any day over Nashville. Like there's no doubt in my mind, I think, at this point.
I'm taking this team too. So speaking of, who is going to be in this starting team? That is the question because like I said a few minutes ago, I think this Inter Miami team and Mascherano knows what the best 11 are. And now that you have all players available that you need, no international duty, no etc. Who is in your best 11? That you think is gonna start, and we'll start in goal, and that is obviously Rios Novo over Ustadi. It was a great decision by Mascherano, not an easy decision when you had him playing the majority of the season and you brought him in for a specific reason, Ustadi, I mean, but Rios Nova has been excellent in these past few matches. A lot of great saves, bringing a whole new life to, the defense and to what was, some issues we were really having with shot stopping and just overall confidence in the back line. You have him come in and already makes a big difference. Your back four, what are we thinking? Unless
I'm
you have
all, I'm
anything else
like,
to add about Rios Novo.
No, no, no. I mean, Rios Nova has done a good job. And I don't think that was I don't know if that was the plan originally, but I think that obviously Ustadi has shown that he's not up to the test. And then going obviously into the playoffs, you need the best guy in goal right now. And between those two, it's probably the younger of the two. He's I think he's earned the spot. But as far as the back four, I feel like we're gonna say the same back four. Um,
Yeah. Okay. So
we're
starting on the
almost there.
right, Ian Frey.
Ian Frey, yeah, who probably won't be here next season. There's a chance he won't. Apparently, he's getting offers already to go to Europe.
If
So
it wasn't for his injuries, I'm telling you right now, he'd be starting for half the teams in Europe. He's such a good right back. In my opinion. Left back, Jordi Alba.
Doherty, obviously.
Okay, now your center back pairing. Who I want and who I think you want is Maxi Falcone and Noah Allen. That's what we had seen before the international break. Um, I thought they were doing a good partnership, and you know, it's the one I feel the most confident in. I think Noah Allen has also become a very technical player and is really good at reading what's going to happen, being at the right place at the right time. We do have a height disadvantage when you don't have someone like an Aviles there, but I think the partnership of the center backs and just the overall, knowledge of the game, what's happening, where to position yourself, that's the four I feel most comfortable with.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the short kings at center back, 100%. If
Yep,
not,
short
it'll
kings. Yep.
it's there's no chance Aviles makes it into a playoff game unless something drastic happens. Like if Aviles makes it into the game at like early on as a starter, I think that's probably because of injuries or something like that. The other option obviously could be Lujan. We've seen. I think I'm obviously going for Noah Allen, but we've seen him sometimes surprise us with Lujan instead of
Yeah.
Noah Allen. So, but I agree. As far as like the best four, it's who you said, Ash. I agree with that.
Yeah, we'll have to see about Lujan versus Allen. I hope it's Allen. Midfield. Now this actually kind of goes against what I said in your best 11. Like, who's your best 11? Because
Wait, Ash, can I
obviously,
say something? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I take back the short king thing that I said about Falcon just because he's taller than me. So never mind. I,
good. Okay,
never
thank you
mind.
for
Never mind.
clarifying. Well, the hair
and I,
also.
and
The
I'm
hair
and
adds.
I'm not
The hair
short,
adds.
and I'm not short, so he is not a short king. I'm sorry, Maxi.
So true.
Go ahead.
So true. And his hair, like I said, it's not fair comparison. Um, so the midfield, obviously, it's going to be Sergio Busquets. It's going to be Lionel Messi, technically, and it's going to be or Baldassar Rodriguez. You can swap them however you want. And then it's going to be Rodrigo de Paul. Now, if you said to me who throughout the time has been better in the midfield, you could make an argument that you would rather see Yannick Bright and Busquets, for example. But that argument isn't going to be valid because Rodrigo de Paul is going to be starting every match. So he is considered to be and is in the best 11, starting 11 for this Inter Miami team. So, yeah, that's my thing. And we've seen a few matches and a few, I think, examples of Rodrigo de Paul playing really amazing. Like I can remember, I think it was against New England. he was so amazing. I was watching it live and I was like, wow, he is really an amazing midfielder. Like you're seeing a quality and him being in all the right spots. But then we've seen a lot of examples of him not playing at the level that we expected. So I guess my question to you is one, do you agree that he is in the best 11? And two, do you think he will be able to quote unquote turn it on and with that competitive spirit and nature we've seen from him in his career really give it to Nashville in the playoffs and to any team he's facing?
I think that statement that you just made about De Paul can be said about every single player that has played in an Inter Miami uniform this season. He's had a great game and he's had some not so good games.
Mhm,
That's you could say that about any player. De Paul to me is not in the best 11 in my opinion. I'm taking Yannick Bright over De Paul any day of the week, any day, any day. De Paul to me, he's all right. He's not Argentina De Paul. He's not even Atletico Madrid De Paul right now, which was not at the level of Argentina De Paul. Because even he's not even going to start in the World Cup, by the way. It's probably going to be McAllister and Enzo Perez. So he's dropped off, unfortunately. But he's a good guy to have on your team, come off the bench. But
you think he's gonna
uh,
come off the bench on Friday?
no, no, no. You're
Okay.
asking if you're asking me who's going to play, Messi's friend is going to play. If you're asking me who the best 11 is, that's a different thing. And to
Mm,
me, De Paul is not in the best 11. To me, I rather have Yannick Bright along with Busquets. Yannick Bright, to me, solidifies that midfield. He's the guy that's going to destroy everything in there. He's going to stop the passes. He's going to close the lanes. He's going to recover the ball and make a quick pass to Busquets, or whoever needs to make the play. He's going to run everywhere. Busquets is the guy that can make those incredible connections with Messi, those through balls to Jordi Alba. Perfect. And then you have Baltasar, who has been playing well over on that left side. I think to me, that's going to be your midfield in my eyes. But I know many probably will disagree with me. I'm just not high on De Paul right now at all.
mhm.
Again,
For who's feeling?
he's
Like, if you have him on his best day, would you rather have DePaul or Yannick Bright? And that's coming from me, who is, by the way, Yannick Bright's #1 fan and who has been for the last 2 years. But if you're talking about who you think can play at their very best right now, who do you like? What's your choice?
I want the guy who's the most consistent. I don't want the
Mm,
guy that I hope he plays his best. I think that if we look
I think
at
that's fair.
I think if we look at Rodrigo de Paul and look at I want to see how many games he's played. So far this season, Rodrigo de Paul has played 11 games. He started 9 out of 11. Out of those 11 games, Ash, that he's played, I'll give him maybe one, being generous, two good games. I don't I is not what I expected from him. And for a guy, and you're very high on Yannick Bright.
I
For a
am.
guy like to have the consistency that Yannick Bright has and what he brings, I think I'm going Yannick Bright all day over the ball. That's how I feel about the best
Mm,
11. Now, I know that's not going to happen. What is really going to happen is going to be the Paul, Bright, and Baltasar. That's what's
Busquets
going to
and
happen.
Balthazar, yeah.
Yeah, that'll
Look,
happen.
I think, I understand and I agree, and I in the beginning, I was like, "Well, you see DePaul, Bright, and Busquets as your midfield," but it showed we didn't give us enough attacking, and so, DePaul
I'm
wasn't.
surprised nobody in chat fought me about that. I'm proud of you guys. I appreciate you guys. I think you guys are on my side. Nobody said anything. I was
Well,
expecting
I
people to
don't know if it's
absolutely.
sides, like, because I think Yannick Bright has been, but I'm just thinking, like, that's not what's gonna happen on Friday, and so I'm trying to position myself in my mind and saying, when we like I said in the New England match, for example, like, if we get that DePaul, and that's what we have to hope for, like, you have to hope that's what you're gonna get, that's what you paid for, that's who you want to play in your playoff game, this is elimination. I'm hoping that's what we get, and so he's in my starting 11. I wish Yannick Bright could start too, and I mean, like I said, next season with Busquets retiring, you're gonna see a midfield pairing of DePaul and Bright that I think will be very dangerous and very exciting, and unless Bright leaves, which I hope he doesn't. But so we'll see. All right, and I think it's a very fair point, though. It's a very fair point. All right, let's talk about the attackers. Um, Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez will be there. That's the start. And obviously, I think we know the third is gonna be Tadeo Allende, and we just have to hope to God that he finds the back of the net because he does good runs, he finds good spaces, he does what we're asking him to do, and so does Suarez. They're doing what we're asking them to do, and Messi facilitating or creating, or scoring, but the finishing obviously has not been there in a really, really drastic way. So, um, yeah, we just need Allende to score those chances. I think it's similarly to DePaul. He is your starter. He's gonna be starting on Friday. So just you have to now say, "Score."
Look, I think that if Tadeo Allende can keep up with his performance over his last 5 starts, I think we're going to be okay. And that's what's important. I was looking at his game log right now on MLS.com, and in his last 5 starts, he has 4 goals. He has 4 goals in 5 starts. So that's
Mhm.
excellent. I think you want that from any attacker. And if you get that, you're going to be fine. And yeah, it's going to be Suarez, it's going to be Messi, and it'll be Tadeo Allende because he's the only one on this team that is able to do the things that he does. He's the only one, like you said, Ash, that makes those runs into space where Messi can feed him, where he can play off of Suarez, who plays a lot as a facilitator, and right there, in attack. So I think that 100% it'll be Allende. And if Allende scores like he's been scoring over his last 5 starts, then this team is going to be fine offensively. If you get a Tadeo Allende that plays like he played about 2 months ago, or a little bit less than 2 months ago, then you have a problem because he's going to
Mhm.
get the chances. If he doesn't score them, that's where there's an issue. So I have confidence that he's finally found the net, and he's finally getting back to the flashes that we saw early on in the season. We were like, oh damn, we have something here with Tadeo Allende. I think he's gotten to a better form over the last few games, and that's perfect timing for the playoffs.
Agreed, let's hope so. I think this is a good point, Savetti comes on first sub instead of him playing the 90 minutes, which is good. Do you think there's ever just a really quick scenario where you think Silvetti gets the start on the left and Suarez in the middle and Messi technically on the right /10 instead of Allende? Do you think that would happen or not in the first game?
Over Allende, no, just because of the amount of playing time that Tadeo Allende has had. He's the one that I think feels the most comfortable with his team. He knows how they play. They know how he plays. And as we've seen with Macerano, he's a guy that plays what he knows. He's a guy that has stuck with players, even if they haven't been performing well, because it's what he's used to, is what he likes, and he has that familiarity with Tadeo Allende. He knows exactly what he gets. I think that Silvetti is still young in his career, obviously young in his age, but young in his career with us, where he's still figuring out this team. He's had some good flashes, but this is a player that doesn't have as much experience as Tadeo Allende. That's what you need in games like this. That's what you need in the playoffs. And Tadeo Allende, again, has been playing good as of late. I think what you have in Silvetti and what you have in Telasco right now is it's an amazing benefit to have those guys come off the bench for you. I mean, to be able to take Baltasar off and bring on Telasco is a luxury. I think anybody would want that. You have a guy that starts for the Venezuelan national team. That's if he doesn't start over Baltasar. We'll have to see. But if Baltasar starts, dude, to bring Telasco off the bench is amazing. And then to have Silvetti on the bench that was playing really well with Argentina in the U20 World Cup and have him coming off the bench, that's also a luxury. So that'll be very helpful for this Inter Miami team.
Agreed. Agreed. It'll be really fun and really interesting. All right, to wrap up the show. Um Playoffs are about to start. We finally are here. Inter Miami's been in great form and Messi has been obviously just an absolute monster and the best player in the world, the best player in MLS, and the best player for Inter Miami. What is your score prediction for the first match? And if you want, you can just say the series in general too. And who do you think will score? Let's play that game. I'll go first. I think Inter Miami is going to win this series in 2 games. I don't think it's going to go to 3. I think they're going to win this in 2 games. The first game they're going to win by a lot. The second game, they're gonna win by a little, but they're gonna win both matches. Messi's gonna score multiple times. There you go. That's my prediction.
That was an
We'll
easy
see
way
next
out.
Sunday if I'm right, or
I
partly
think
at least.
it's I think it'll be I think it's going to be 3 games. I think
Mhm.
it'll go to the third game. I think the first game, obviously, we're going to win here at home, and I think it'll be a closer game than maybe I don't think it's going to be a 5-2. I think there was a point to they missed some easy ones in front of the net in the first half, so I think that this time they probably won't. So I'm going to go with it'll probably be 2-1. These type of games, playoff games, they're
Mm.
not usually high scoring. Like you're not going to have 7 goals in a game. Things get more difficult. So I think that it's 2-1, a close game. Messi obviously scores. Second game, I think that it'll also be. I think all the games are going to be close. I think the second game will be close. We'll lose probably by 1 goal, and then the third game we come back home and we win it, maybe like a 2-0. But hey, we're making it out of the first round. Like we are not repeating last season. We are making it out 100%, and Messi's getting us out. Messi will have multiple game. If we go 2 games like you said, Ash, he's scoring in both games. If we go to 3 games, like I think he's scoring in all 3 games. I think that's how
He
good
can't be
Messi's
stopped
playing.
right now. Yeah,
No, he can't.
I love it. All right, good. Well, this has been a really good episode. We've had some great conversation, great comments. We're excited. It's all here to play for. Hopefully it's the start of I don't want to say the start of the championship DVD because that normally happens during the season. You make that reference, but what the start of what is, a really important trophy run and playoff run for this team that could arguably, decide the course of the next few seasons, especially the course of Messi. So I'm excited. Any last thoughts?
No, other than I'm very excited about the upcoming playoff series. I think that the way that they play against Nashville is going to be very foretelling about how the rest of the playoffs are going to be. If they play out of their minds and they play very well, I think that they'll be able to ride that momentum into the rest of it. If they don't play that well, that's where I'll get scared. We need to see an Inter Miami that despite the games being close, they have to look good. They have to look
Mhm.
good defensively. They have to look good offensively. They have to be clicking. We have to see Messi playing well. We have to see that Paul playing well. If they're all playing well, we're good to go. If we have a lackluster series, even if we win, I think that will be a little worrisome. But I have plenty of faith in this team. They're clicking at the right time. Messi looks unstoppable, and we have faith in Rocco. So
Love it.
we'll be good. We'll be good, and I'm excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Vamos. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for watching and commenting for this episode of Messi Co. I'm Ashley. That is Gian, and we will see you next time.